on the set. Look, hey, listen. You look, your boy was sick last week. I'm so sorry, but I was down. I had a virus I had to deal with, but I am back today. And listen, it's going down, baby. It's going down. I'm telling you, it's going down. I'm hyped. I'm ready to roll. Look, we got some good material. Listen, we just gonna go all the way in today. You know how we roll. This is Holla Me, your boy Mike Ding, and my boy brother L, my boy, amen, Monte Lige, and we got guests in the audience. Then I got a special guest all the way from Washington, D.C., Durante Martin. And listen, we're going to talk about his book called Significant. We're going to talk about his new book, Significant, and the significance of being significant. I don't know if I made that up, but I got my boy Pastor Ron. He couldn't be here in person, but he's on the phone. Give a shout out real quick, Durante. Just give him a shout out real quick.
What's up, world? This is Durante Martin. I'm so glad to be on the show. Thank you for having me, sir.
Hey, listen, man. We're gonna jump right in. I'm gonna just start out with a hardcore question. You know, this is just raw because I think people want to know the real. So I want you just real quick, just talk about your book, the title, and why. Like, what made you write this book? Why? What's the purpose of this particular writing?
Well, that's a great question, man. I was, as you kind of know, about 2 years ago, I had really lost everything. I had lost my car. Lost my source of income. I lost my house. I was living in a hotel room with my family at the time, and honestly, man, I was spiraling downward deeper and deeper. And as I was sitting there, man, I began to think about my life and started questioning every decision I had ever made in my life. I started thinking about who I could have been had I decided not to go into ministry, had I not accepted the call of God. Maybe if I would have went to Howard University and pursued a law degree and become a crisis management guru or something like that, you know, I considered all the things, and I really began to imagine how my life could have been. And then I realized something while I was imagining that, this hypothetical alternate reality, that the guy in that reality, though he was me, he really wasn't me.
Wow.
The guy was different from me. He wore the same clothes I would have worn. He ate at the same restaurants I would have ate at. He did the same things I would have done. But somehow that guy's DNA, if you will, was different from mine. Because that guy, when I bowed out, that guy stepped in. When I quit, that guy kept going. When I refused to get in the ring, that guy jumped in the ring and kept going. And then the second realization I got in the same moment was I could still be that guy. I just had to find that place of significance. Not permission, but significance for me. And so what it made me do, it made me start looking back over my life from the time I was born to what I was at that moment, even to where I am now, and watch how a lack of personal significance had crippled me in decision making in life. It crippled everything that I did. And as we kind of talk tonight, you'll kind of see some more of that. But my background, if I can for a minute, my background, I was born to a crack-addicted mother and an absent father. I was a product of a one-night stand. So I was born into a situation that was unplanned and unprepared for. And so what I didn't realize as a child, as an adolescent, as a prepubescent teenager, what I didn't realize is that being unprepared for being set the stage for the entirety of my life. Every step I took in life was carried this shadow, if you would, of being unprepared for. And I don't think we ever think about that. When a child is born, if you think about when a child is born in the natural sense, when he's born with the products of conception all over his body, and the nurses and the doctors, they rush in to make sure they get the products of conception off the baby before they present the child back to the parent. Well, what happens when we don't have that that same sense of urgency concerning the environment of conception, the way the child is born. So here it is, I was born unplanned, unprepared for, no painted nursery with the crib that two young parents struggled late into the night to assemble. None of that. I was born covered in this afterbirth of being unprepared for. So here it is. Those aforementioned circumstances that surrounded my conception and birth, they formed a mask that wrapped me from birth to childhood. That mask affected the way I perceived love. It affected the way I perceived acceptance, even the way I perceived myself. If you think about it, if a family member is coming from a long journey and you know they're coming, but when they show up, you have no guest bedroom prepared for them. You have nowhere for them to use the bathroom, nowhere for them to wash themselves. Here it is, though they were expected, you didn't prepare for them, so the overarching feeling that they're left with is a feeling of unimportance. And so what I grew up with in my life, that feeling that followed me every day, and I believe millions of people feel this, I felt like I wasn't important. I wasn't important enough for my mother to kick her drug habit. I wasn't important enough for my father to rescue me from homelessness. I wasn't important enough to have a room of my own or a house of my own. So that those feelings followed me my entire life, and that's really what led to the writing of the book.
Wow. So let me get this straight.
Yes, sir.
All of the things that you described that you went through.
Yes, sir.
And I think you're almost 30 years old. You're a young man with all this wisdom.
Yeah.
But so, and excuse me, but I gotta go here because you're my boy.
Absolutely.
But it took almost 30 years to say that's not me.
Wow, exactly.
How did that make you feel once you came to the realization that what I'm being is not who I am?
I had two feelings. The first feeling, I felt betrayed by life. I felt that life I felt like life had played me a losing card.
Hello, you still there? Oh, we must have lost him for a moment.
His face hit the button.
Yeah, so he probably called back in a moment. Let's just kind of go to the panel. Actually, he's calling back, but we'll go to the panel in a moment. Hey, how you doing, man? You back real quick. Hey, if you listening to holyhillsradio.com, at the show is Holler at Me. Listen, I want you to get out a pen and write this number down, because you can call in, ask questions. I feel some oil on this. I feel like this is really about to get interesting, and I don't even think we really warmed up yet. Write this number down: 614-577-1464. 614-577-1464. Now, if you're the type of person that you're like a nonverbal person, you don't feel like talking, look, you can text us. Text your boy, 614-377-4592. And, PR, I'm back at you, man. We was talking about when you realized all of this, and how it made you feel. So can you just kind of go back to that, and then my panel, they have a few questions and comments they'd like to make.
Okay, cool. Well, like I said, the first feeling I felt was betrayal. I felt like I had been betrayed by life. But the second feeling I had, and this was probably the most freeing feeling in the world, is I finally felt like I had a winning chance in life. Because what I realized is that for the past 30 years, I had been living a life that was not mine. For the past 28 years of my life, I was not me. And this is going to sound crazy, I wasn't me, I was who life had made me become.
Wow.
So the person who had been losing for the past 28 years, that wasn't me. That was a person who had succumbed, who had capitulated, who had caved in, who had settled for less. It was freeing because I realized there's a winner on the inside of me, and I don't have to confine myself to the boxes that my environment placed on.
Man, you just got me over here in the warp zone, man. I'm trying to catch up with you. Wow. Look, Monte, I know
I do.
I know you're bubbling over there.
I do. Listen, Pastor Ron, how you doing, man?
Yes, sir. I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Wonderful. It's refreshing to hear your voice. I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Hearing what you just said and kind of looking at how that could have looked like when you finally got and said, hey, you know what I mean? That's not me.
Right.
When you look back, were there any breadcrumbs? Were there any like, when you kind of look back and say, hey, that was a sign. I was trying to tell myself that that's not who you can be. Was there anything like in the past that you kind of can look back and say, that should have showed me that there's something different about me. That's why I don't feel comfortable here in this place.
That is a great question. One of the biggest signs that I think, I don't necessarily know if I overlooked them or just completely ignored them. But I would say one of the biggest signs is that intimidation followed me everywhere I went. In the sense of no matter how low I felt in life, there was always someone who was intimidated by what I brought to the table. And it used to bother me because I felt like I have nothing to offer. I'll never forget when my church, my first church was only 5 members strong, and I mean 5. It was me, my wife, my 2 boys, and my brother. 5 members strong, and had been that way for maybe a year. And one of the fastest growing churches in the city started trying to find a way to shut us down. Now, the me that existed at that time became incredibly depressed because I had the why me personality. Why me? Why are they doing this to me? I ain't doing that to anybody. I ain't never bothered nobody. I'm not that dude. I'm not that guy. Why are they doing this to me? See, that should have been a sign to me. Because when the biggest dog in the yard is barking at the smallest dog in the yard, that means that the smallest dog has an identity problem. Because he thinks he's small, he must be bigger than he really is. And so what I realized is that at that moment, that now looking back, that if the hypothetical me would have been in that situation, you remember the me from the alternate reality, so that me would have been in the same situation, he would have maximized the moment instead of backing down for moments. So there have been several moments in my life where there were signs that were pointing directly at me saying, you're greater than you think you are, but instead of me rising to the occasion and responding in faith and with a sober diligence, I would respond in fear instead with, no, not me. No, I'm not great. Why would they do this to me? See, a lot of times in life, we misappropriate attacks from the enemy. And we take things that seem negative. And forgive me, I'm still a preacher, so there's a little.
I hear you. I hear the heaven warming up.
We take things that seem negative, and we appropriate them in our lives as negative when they're actually positive signs. Joseph, his whole life had negative events that kept happening to him over and over and over again. But all of those negative events were signatures. They were signs that implied or inferred his significance. Because sometimes God has to use negative stuff to push you to the palace. Because if Joseph's brothers never betrayed him, he would have never made it to the palace. But a lot of times we look at betrayal as, oh, that must mean I'm nobody. When in actuality, what it should mean is that somebody thought enough of me to betray me. So that must mean that I am greater than I think I am. And the preacher side of me wants to say that we serve a God who is able to take what the enemy meant for our evil and work it for our good. And so on the practical side, the breadcrumbs that I ignored and overlooked. And this sounds so crazy. The breadcrumbs were the constant attacks.
Wow.
Always under attack. And I should have got it. And we hear it preached all the time. We hear people say it. We hear motivational speakers say it. That if you're not experiencing some type of opposition, you're obviously not going in the wrong. You're obviously not going in the right direction. So if you are experiencing opposition, there's probably more to you than you think. In other words, the world or the enemy sees more in you than you even see in yourself. So for me, those were the breadcrumbs that I overlooked consistently.
Wow. L, come on, man, jump in this, man. I know you got some stuff.
I'm still just soaking it up, like this, like, because I feel like I'm in a matrix of you speaking my life.
Oh wow.
It's like, you know what I mean? It's like I'm literally living everything that you speaking about. Like, it's like, wow, okay. Then you know what I mean? Like, and it's emotional for real, because I'm all I could do is just like, it's like you want to answer, like you want a plain, flat out answer of life, of self, of Jesus Christ, of anything, of when is my break, when is my blessing, Lord, when is, you know what I mean, like what is this, you know what I mean, why that constant attack thing, you know what I mean, it's like, and basically, like that's where my life like kind of is in a whirlwind of, okay, I have understanding of Jesus Christ, and I'm perfect. I'm saved. I believe I'm saved. But the struggle is like this. The struggle. What was I thinking earlier? Because I was thinking of something earlier in the car. I'm trying to remember it. It's the struggle is hard, but I still have faith.
Absolutely.
Like that's what, like, because my pastor, he always says like something to it, and he tell me say something deep. So that was my I don't know why it came out now, but it was supposed to be saved from when he told me, when he asked me that. But that's exactly how, like, so I'm just like in awe, and I'm really soaking up, and I'm listening, like, and I'm thankful that I even came again.
Wow.
To hear this.
Wow.
Oh, bless you, sir.
Well, when I think about this, it's a challenge. You know, I mean, think about how many people out there that are listening to this conversation that needs your book significant.
That's right.
And by the way, you can go to Barnes and Nobles. Not Barnes. Was it Barnes? Where can you get the book at? Just in case somebody like, I want this book.
Amazon.com. And it's available in paperback and digital, Kindle.
Okay. And it's called what again? Significant by Durante Martin.
Yes, sir.
How do you spell that name, man? Because I messed it up trying to spell it on there.
Yeah, it is Darante.
And we're going to put the link on our Facebook page, too. You can go there and grab it.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to this issue of, because pretty much in a nutshell, this book is about identity.
Yes, sir.
And about finding out who I am.
Yes, sir.
Before it's too late.
Absolutely.
Because there is a too late. I believe there could be you can miss your moment.
Absolutely.
And when I think about it, when you're not put in an environment, or you know, when you was talking about the different when a baby is being born, and just kind of the birthing, the material that's left on the baby, and the environment that's still stuck on them. Yeah. And to me, that's paradigm. That's my upbringing. That's my environment. That's my crew. That's what mama taught me. That's what daddy taught me. And all of those different things make up who I become, but that's not who I am.
Yes, sir.
And that's a challenge, because you become something that you weren't meant to be. And then when you finally figure out, wait a minute, I'm acting like a puppy, but I'm a wolf.
Come on now, all right now. You're in one of my chapters now.
So you know, so when I just want, I just want to speak to the people just for a moment, man. I just want to speak to the people just real quick in terms of, I don't care where you are in life, man, right now. If you don't know who you are, you're in a dangerous place. And I believe this, and I may be wrong. I believe this, and I'm just going to step out on a limb. I believe that, help me, Jesus, that people, many people that have committed suicide and different things like that were suffering, in my opinion, from some sort of identity crisis.
Yes, sir.
Because I think for me, like, knowing who I am, I ain't trying to kill myself. It's hard. Now, but being in a place where you don't know who you are, being in a place of regret, being in a place of loneliness, being in a place of pain, being in a place of abandonment, then those different things arise, and that becomes your thought process, and your cloud, your judgment, your decision making, and all those sorts of things are guided by your emotions.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know. What just kind of, I guess, let's kind of jump on that for a moment.
Absolutely. And you know, that's really key there, because I like the fact that you ended that was guided by your emotions. And I think one of the biggest traps that we fall into when you're suffering with a lack of significance or a lack of confidence or diffidence, what you're struggling with is you become a slave to your emotions. You know, and the Bible says, if I can go there one more time, that the heart is deceptively wicked, you know, deceitful above all. Who can know it? And we kind of grew up in this culture that says, follow your heart, follow your heart, follow your heart. Well, how many times do you follow your heart into the same trap? And so we tend to become slaves to our emotions based on our personal experiences in life. And so we view everything through the lens of emotional experience. Yes, sir.
And so that dives into a plethora of things. I mean, when you think about relationships with your children, marriage, friends, and things of that nature. If I don't know who I am as a father, see, if I don't know who I am as a husband,
yes, sir,
am I really married?
Yes, sir.
If I'm not being the real me,
right?
Goodness. That's why I don't like being around people I can't be me with.
Come on now, man.
If I can't fully be me, then our time is limited.
Yeah.
If I feel uncomfortable with being me around you, then I see you at a cookout.
Right.
You know what I mean? I see you at the zoo, man. Hey,
yes, sir. I see you on Facebook.
You know what? Yes, I see you on Facebook.
Facebook is it.
And I see you over there bubbling, man. I mean, so for me, I'm like, so that's we living in a dangerous place. Then, I mean, according to what you're talking about in your book, and what many of us has experienced, I experienced it myself. I don't think. I struggle even in my book that'll be out in about 3 or 4 weeks, and I'll be talking about that, later in another broadcast. But for me. I grew up like that, man. My mother was on crack. I grew up not knowing who my father was, and still don't know him, and trying to find who I am. I'm almost 40 years old, and it took a while for me. I think if I would have known who I was earlier, in my earlier years, then I probably would be in a different place, a different space. So
absolutely.
So raising my children, I'm constantly trying to pour into them to be you. Be who you are. This is you. Don't, and constantly trying to just rip the whole, mindset of I gotta fake it till I make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Come on now, yeah.
Because if you're not being the full you, number one, you cheating yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you cheating others around you.
That's key right there. Cheating others around you, because that our significance problem is not just an individual problem. It's a national problem. It's a worldwide problem. If I could read a direct quote from the book, and I'm probably oversimplifying a very complex matter, but it makes sense if you think about it. This is straight from the book. It says, have you ever stopped to consider that your success or failure in life plays a role in the success or failure of the economy? Money you never make is money you'll never spend, and ultimately money you'll never use to stimulate the economy. Business you never start equals employees you'll never hire.
Preach.
Never right equals countless visionaries you'll never inspire. If I haven't made the point clear, there's a whole world depending on your success or significance, which means the more of us that are living in the shadows, the more people who are robbed of their own significance. No man is an island. We are all connected. That's why the words of this book burn so deeply within my heart, because it's not just about one person getting up and stepping out and becoming who they were intended to be, for self-actualizing, if you will. That's what Maslow would call it. But it is about a whole people as a whole being the best them that they can be, so we can change our world. We do that not by changing politics, not by changing policies, not by electing a new ruler. We do that by being us, by being the fullness of who God created us to be in every aspect of the word.
Wow. And, I'm looking through some of your chapters, man.
Yes, sir.
And you getting on my nerves already. I mean, I'm gonna just hit a few of them.
Okay.
One of them, I think it starts at page 10. It's called "The Complicated Truth."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, we could come on, man. Give me some of that. The complicated truth. So truth can be complicated.
Absolutely. I think that chapter is probably the one I had really the hardest time writing, because it is so hard to identify the roots of insignificance. And that's what makes it complicated, but it is real easy to identify someone who feels insignificant. Like that book starts off by saying the feelings of insignificance can be insidious in nature. It's almost like a cancer. And at times you feel like, and this was me now, at times you feel like that those feelings have subsided into remission, and then years go by, and one event can cause all of that pain to start flooding into your heart, your mind, and your soul. And I can say that because that happened to me. In 2007, I thought that as a man, now grown man, married, had my first child, I'm grown. I feel like I've dealt with all of my daddy issues. What if I had a father plug right there? I felt like I had dealt with all of my mama issues. I felt like I had overcome everything there was to overcome in life. But I was sitting in a conference called Leading in Tough Times, and Pastor Mark Shoutout from Orlando, Florida, got up and he said just these few words. He said, none of us escaped childhood without scars. And when that brother said that, man, I started weeping violently. And I just remember my homie that was sitting next to me. He was like, dude, are you okay? Because the tears were that uncontrollable. Because that one statement, it reopened those wounds. I don't even want to say reopened. It reminded me that those wounds were still open. It showed me a lot of times we will self-medicate with a false life. So what we do is we cover our wounds with an illusion of success. We cover our wounds with an illusion of, let me say that. And when I say an illusion of success, what I really mean is we settle for something less than what our heart has really cried out for. But we convince ourselves that, where you are right now is okay. It is absolutely okay. use that to cover our wounds temporarily. But what happens is one event, one statement, one moment. For me, it was that moment of the conference. For somebody else, you can be in a relationship where somebody says something to you that takes you to a place so dark, a place that you haven't been to in years, and you're sitting there wondering, how in the world did I get back here? And the truth is, you never left. You just surrounded yourself with so many toys in prison that you forgot that you were in prison.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's the complicated truth.
And see, now you bring now whom the Son sets free is free indeed.
Yes, sir.
When we were at the Gather the Shepherds couple years ago, and I think you were there. I think you was like in the row in front of me.
Yes, sir.
They had the table sit out, and Bishop Joey Johnson got up after Ari Vernon spoke, and he did a session on grief recovery.
Yeah.
Now, and really to me, he was trying to show people that, you want to be free while you're leading. Like, you don't want to be leading and bleeding. Yes, and just being real about where you are emotionally as a spiritual leader or leader in general. Right. And I didn't personally, I didn't know how hurt I was until he broke down what grief actually was.
Yes, sir.
So in my mind, all these years, I'm a free dude.
Come on now.
You know what I mean? I'm high-fiving at people. I'm visiting people. But deep down in my heart, I was a crying baby. I still had the residue on me.
Come on now.
And so he started talking about stirbs, right? And I talk about this in church, and I talk about this a lot because it meant so much. He started talking about short-term energy relieving behaviors. Because he was quoting from the Grief Recovery Handbook by John James, and so he said these short-term energy relieving behaviors. He was giving some examples like drugs, alcohol, violence. Then he started getting sex, lashing out, isolation, anger, shopaholic, workaholic. He was just naming all these different things. And then he talked about what caused grief. Like, for example, he said puppy love is love to the puppies. and so I'm thinking like, okay, now in their world, right? In their world, they could be 16, 17 years old or 15, and in their world, they in love with each other. Mm-hmm. But then here comes mom or dad saying that relationship is not for you.
Mm. Wow.
I'm pulling you out as you're not going to see Johnny ever again. And dad is in a place where he's trying to protect his baby. But his baby is saying, in my world, dad, you're wrong.
Mm. Wow.
And so that's one of the ways right becomes wrong and wrong becomes right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm like, okay. So for me, so I'm like, I had to be real with myself.
Right.
I was still hurt over my mom. I was still hurt over the loss of my mom, my brother. I was still messed up by, some of the mistakes and things I made and opportunities I lost. I was still hurt by people that did me wrong and things of that nature, and people I may have not been the best towards myself. And so all those different things were bottled up, and I'm thinking I could just put that bottle away.
Right.
But in all actuality, I never confronted it and opened it and actually made things better on my end. And so I guess for me, that moment, because you was talking about a moment, because I thought I had other moments, but this was, and I think in life, watch this, you have moments.
Yep.
This was one of those moments that when he got done speaking, while he was speaking, I wept. I mean, it was probably like 1,000 or so, 2,000 people there. I'm a grown man crying like a baby, boo-hooing. I think they were even recording this on DVD, and I mean, I'm in tears, and not that they was like going over to record me because I was crying, but I was weeping like I was at a funeral because I started thinking like I never got to grieve.
Come on now.
When my mom died, and you know, my siblings got to go chill with their friends and weep and hang out and you know, do whatever they wanted to do in terms of, you know, grieving on my mom's behalf. Me, you know, I had to go clean out my mom's house.
Come on now.
I had to go find her insurance papers.
Wow.
I had to go get the death certificate.
Yeah.
I had to choose a casket.
Come on.
When I'm sitting there, they like, so we got the green casket, we got the white casket, we got a nice blue casket with white interior. I said, wait, you talking about my mom like she business?
Right.
So I had to take like a 15-minute break and leave the room because during that whole time I was recognizing I'm in this conference. I ain't never really get to grieve, and really I didn't know how to grieve. My way of grieving was work 16 hours a day. My grieving was go out to eat every other day. My grieving was, you know, have sex with my wife as much as I could. My grieving was I said that on air. Goodness, I got this on tape.
You did that with your wife though.
Hey, that's what. Yep. If you will. But you get what I'm saying. So I thought I dealt with it. And so when I listen to you talk about your story, when I listen to you talk about your book, when I listen to you in essence, you're saying throughout your book and even in this conversation that I thought how I was living, I thought what I was doing was right, but I always knew it was something wrong about it.
That's it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I gotta stop right there. I mean, I don't know. Anybody else want to chime in? I gotta say on that for a moment.
You know, there are two things I talk about in my book, and I won't talk about both of them now. I'll just kind of give you what they are, so you'll know what to look for, and I'll expound on one of them. But one of the things I talk about is the Dunning-Kruger effect, which basically talks about this imposter phenomenon. And basically, just to kind of highlight it, hit it, quit it, and keep rolling with it, the imposter phenomenon is basically this person assumes that their own set of competencies are nothing spectacular, and they assume that others are equally, if not more capable, of handling any task at hand. So this person sets themselves at an eternal disadvantage in life. This person is an imposter. That's why it's called an imposter phenomenon. Not to the sense of you're pretending to be more than you are, but when you're pretending to be less than you are still an imposter. Masquerading around as though you are less than when you are truly a magnificent creation, fearfully and wonderfully made, crafted with an abundance of life-giving gifts and skills that are desperate for a platform to be expressed on. Most of us are imposters, and when I thought about that, and I think I shared a little bit of this with you before, when I thought about that, it made me think about the difference between a dog and a wolf. Because genetically, these two animals are almost identical. The only two differences between a dog and a wolf is the environment and their instinct. And I read something and it blew my mind. Dogs, though they can reach the same size as wolves, they never get out of their puppy years. So even though you can have a dog that's been in your family for 10, 15 years, that dog is still a puppy. He has been so crippled by his dependency on a human master that he never maximizes his potential. He becomes, in essence, and I like this word, a people pleaser. And I call people pleasing the trap that caps. Because when you become a people pleaser, you live your life by permission and not by purpose. Wolf grows larger, the wolf becomes faster, the wolf becomes stronger, the wolf is more independent because he doesn't live his life by permission, but he lives his life by purpose. The dog, when released into the wild from his master's, from being at his master's side, he is more prone to sickness, disease, and because he does not know how to operate on his own. And that's what happens to a lot of people who struggle with insignificance. They've become so used to getting permission for everything they do in their lives that they're not able to stand on their own 2 feet. They're not able to make decisions for themselves. So when they're locked into a room and God or themselves, they lock themselves in a room and look in the mirror and say, "Who are you?" They're waiting for someone to tell them who they are. Instead of just journeying out in life and discovering who they are. Yeah, I want my desire, and I'm making that transition now. I'm transitioning from being a dog to a wolf. I want to be able to survive on my own. I want to be able to eat what I want to eat. I want to be able to protect my family without having to beg for permission. I want to be that wolf. I want to be able to tap into that instinct. Thank you, Bishop Jakes. I want to be able to tap into that instinct that God gave me and not wait at the hands of somebody else for what already belongs to me.
My goodness. That's deep. I got a question. Just popped in my head. Right? It was like, so is it ever too late?
That is a great question. As the time clock passes us by, and I do talk about this time clock in the book, as the time clock passes us by, it's never too late, but it does change. For example, let's say your purpose was to be a world-class track star, and you didn't do it in your 20s, you didn't do it in your 30s. Let's say you don't realize that was your purpose until you're in your 70s. Now, we know, without miraculous exception or divine intervention, at 70, you're not going to become a world-class track star. That particular facet of your life has passed you by, but it is not too late to put your hands to the ring, push yourself to your limits, maximize your opportunities. If it's too late for me to become the track star, I'll become the track coach of the next world-class track star. So what you have to do in your mind, and this is what significant people do, is no matter how much time has passed you by, you do not back down. You do not digress. You do not succeed from your destiny. No, you alter it. If I miss that time limit, but I still got breath in my body, I can still do something that keeps me in line with who I was created to be.
Wow. Now, the late Dr. Miles Monroe, that's my dude.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things he said, and you may have heard this as well, is that the richest place in the world is not a bank.
Yes, sir.
It's not the diamond mines in Africa or the oil fields in Iraq. It's not. He said, but the richest place in the world is the graveyard.
Yes, sir.
Because in the graveyard, there's books that's never been written,
right,
and doctors that never practice.
Right.
Don't die full of potential, of significance. Die empty. Tell the grave no. And so, when I'm hearing your book, to me it corresponds with finding out who you are, and taking your life from where you are, and taking the necessary steps to not miss out on any other opportunities,
right?
And really creating your own opportunities, being the wolf, right? Not being the dog and wait for somebody to say, hey, you know what, you can start your own business.
Right.
Hey, you know what, you could get married. Hey, You know, you can start your own car. You know what? You can go to school. No, it's I am going to school. God never got permission from anybody to be God.
Amen.
That's it. That's it. You don't need a you can. You need an I
am. Sister Nancy, you need to put that off. I know you're doing it. Make sure you quote Pastor Ron on that. He said you don't need a you can, you need an I am. And I think that separates people that are great from people that underachieve.
You're absolutely right.
You know, people that underachieve say I can. People that overachieve or walk in success, it says I am going to do this.
Exactly.
But others say, can I? Because when you say can I, you're questioning self-ability.
Yes, sir.
You're questioning your skills. You're questioning your environment. You're asking questions. And when you ask questions, if you get an answer from those questions and you don't respond to it, then you're going to keep saying, can I?
Come on now.
How many times, if you're out there, I don't care if you're in New York, I don't care if you're in Africa, I don't care if you're in LA, I love y'all. But how many can I's have you said in your life?
Yes.
Some of you saying, can I now?
Yeah.
So in other words, what you were saying, PR, was, man, the dog, though he's growing in physical stature maturity, is still a puppy. It took me a while when you were saying, I'm like, okay, he gonna have to like show me this. I almost said, show me in the text.
Yeah.
But when I look at it, every last dog I've encountered, somebody always told that dog where to go. I'm going to go walk your dog so they can go take a leak. You know, feed the dog. Come and eat now. Come and eat. Here's your food. But a wolf goes out there and say, you know what, that look good tonight. I'm going to get that. But the dog come to you and say, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. Can you give me something to drink, to try to show you that they hungry, they thirsty. If they looking for attention, they come and snuggle up on you. Now, oh goodness. Oh man, I gotta say this to all my married folk out there. Are you married to a dog or a wolf? Don't marry a dog when you're a wolf. If you just now chiming in, you're gonna have to go back and listen to what we're talking about, because somebody just jumping in and said, so you saying we all dogs. You know, and maybe, watch this, maybe that's a problem in relationships. That's a problem in ministry. That's a problem in the educational system, is where you got dogs and wolves cross-pollinating.
Come on now.
So then you can tap in and then you can tap out.
That's it.
You got a confused killer now.
Gotta preach right there.
Yeah. Wow.
I think I clapped my hands on that.
Wow.
But you know, the greatest enemy of significance is domestication. The only thing that keeps that dog trapped is the fact that we domesticated it. And if you think about it, even the way the American education system is set up, it's set up to train dogs. It's set up to domesticate us. We don't go through an education system that says, hey, get your degree and become and own your business, tap into what you're good at. From the time our children are in kindergarten to the time they graduate with their bachelor's, master's, or even a doctorate, the whole goal is to work for somebody else. The whole goal is to snuggle up to somebody. So in exchange for your loyalty, they'll give you a check. You trade off your time for their approval of you. It's that domestication, and little by little, it begins to rob you because now your whole being is trapped in someone else. It's trapped in something else. So, and that's why you have a lot of frustrated brothers out there now who don't know how to be fathers, who don't know how to be leaders, because we never trained them to be fathers. We trained them to be dogs. We never trained them to be leaders. We trained them to be dogs. We're not building wolves, which is why, I'm working on my second book now. That is part 2 of Significant, and it'll be called Breaking All the Rules. Because in that one, we've got to find a way to break free from this domesticated lifestyle and kind of get back in that wilderness a little bit.
Wow.
Find out what it feels like to stretch your step. The last chapter in the book talks about the difference between arrogance and confidence, or arrogance and significance. Because one of our biggest fears of breaking free is, and this is for truly people who truly feel insignificant. One of those greatest fears, and I can speak to it because it was me, is the fear of being perceived as arrogant. So because you're afraid to be perceived as arrogant, you don't promote yourself. You don't talk about what you're good at. You don't display yourself. And that seems good. It seems humble. But the problem is, since nobody knows you exist, they're going to the arrogant guy. Because everybody's looking for what you have. But if you're not telling people you have it, how are they going to come to you? So because you're so afraid, insignificant people are so afraid of seeming arrogant or seeming boisterous. They're so afraid of putting themselves out there and being let down that they never give themselves a chance to succeed. I'm not saying to brag on yourself, but you can't be ashamed to let people know what you're working with. You got to be willing to be that wolf at one time. One of my favorite movies, and I'm not ashamed to say it, is Wolf of Wall Street. As long as that movie was, that brother was the epitome of someone who had a handle on their own personal significance. This brother went to prison, came out, and still made money because he realized this is who I am. It's not what I'm doing; it's who I am. Now, I don't want to be one of those over-the-top faith guys. But at some point, and this is just for a few people who are tired of struggling, at some point, you just got to be able to say, broke is what I'm going through, but rich is who I am. So no matter where I am right now, there's a wolf on the inside of me that won't let me stay down.
Wow. Man, okay. You done gave me a nugget, and I'm about to share this.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking about, okay, I like trying to jump on the other, like the other perspective. Like you have the dog and you have the master, right? You have the dog or you have people. And one of the reasons why I believe that we train dogs is because of intimidation of what they can be, what they have become.
You gotta say it.
So we don't want to let them free because they are unpredictable.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You're saying something.
So I could take that a whole lot of ways. I mean, one of the ways I could take it is, people in your life know that you have all this potential, but they got you trained.
Right.
Making you think you're something you're not.
Uh-huh.
Every now and again, they give you a doggy treat. Every now and again, when they feel like giving you a raise, they give you a raise.
Come on.
And I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at my life. I'm looking at the people around me and people I've known through the years. There are many people that don't know how intimidated the employees are of them.
Yes, sir.
But I gotta use these commands that I gave you and taught you and embedded in you during orientation.
Come on now.
So by the time you mature in strength and wisdom and intellect, you lost your instinct Because soon as you taste success, I say sit.
Come on. Yeah.
So you know, and I could take that. I could take it to marriage. I could take it to raising kids. I mean, you know, maybe that's why some kids go crazy. You know, like they say preachers' kids are the worst kids, man. I don't know, man. To me, I don't want to say that's a myth, but I don't feel like that's true for me.
Right.
But because I try my best, you know, I try to let my kids be kids. I try to let them laugh and chill. Now you do got to go to bed at a certain time,
right?
Because you got to go get your education. Yes, but even the educational system, come on, yes, has dogged us and not woofed us.
Yes, sir.
Because when you look at the outer city schools, and it has been proven that versus the public school system, those schools provide something different that the inner city schools don't get.
Yes, sir.
The prison system. Don't even make me go there.
Come on, sir.
They're trained to go back to prison.
Yeah, come on.
Because when you get in here, you commit a felony, I'm going to strip you of all your rights.
Yeah.
And even when you're free, I'm going to make sure you feel like you're in prison.
Come on now.
Because I'm going to take away opportunities. You're going to second guess yourself because you're going to go look for jobs. And even the companies look at people and say, nah, you've been to prison. So prisoners are intimidated. So they become, ex-offenders are intimidated. And so thus they become, or they are dogs and they follow command and they don't follow instinct.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, you done gave me something new to preach.
I know.
You know, so I guess the challenge in all this, and I don't know where this at in your book, but coming from this place of I can, or can I to I am. And that's a hard place to get to if all I've been taught was how to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, cause when you think about faith, faith is really faith when you do something.
Yes, sir.
Toward a particular thing.
Yes, sir.
So faith is actually work. I mean, because he said faith without works. Come on, James. Mm-hmm. Faith without works is dead being alone.
Yes, sir.
So my faith, the thing that I want to have happen doesn't happen if I don't work it.
Yep.
In other words, your book wouldn't have been manifested if you didn't start writing.
That's right. That's
right. Your degree, you out there that you going to college, you think about giving up. Your degree won't be manifested if you say can I instead of saying I am. Dang, man, you don't get it. I appreciate you so much, man. You blessed me, man. I don't know. Anybody else got anything, man? Before I get, my boy PR some.
Yeah, it's funny that I was just sitting here listening, like, and I want to bless you, like, cause for real, like, I really needed to hear this. I don't know why. Like yesterday, like, it's crazy. Yesterday, I just found myself reading, cause I just had a baby girl, and found myself looking up my name in the Hebrew baby names books, right? Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, well, let me see what this is. You know what I mean? My name Ellis. And in the Hebrew baby dictionary, I don't know about the Hebrew dictionary, but I know in the baby dictionary on Google, it says Jehovah is my God, or God is my Jehovah is my God, basically. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, like, and the first time that I actually looked at it, it really, brought tears to me for real. Because I'm like, all this time, and I'm 35 now, and I think this happened about 6 months ago when I looked at my name and whatnot, if I remember correctly, and I'm like, wow. And my middle name is Jerome, and it says I looked that up, and it said sacred. So I'm like, I'm in bewilderment. I'm in that whirlwind of praise you, Jesus. I love you, and I'm trying to figure it out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and everything that you said today is like, I'll be meditating on this for a minute, and it was helpful. It was very helpful, and I'm gonna try to get the book ASAP.
We're gonna get you. I'm gonna bless you with the book.
Oh, that's what's up.
All right, wow. We're gonna bless him with a book. In fact, if you out there, hey, our first 2 callers, we're gonna bless you with a book. Our first 2 callers, you can't be in the studio. The number is 614-577-1464. The book Significant by Durante Martin. Go to Amazon right now. I'm telling you, this mug is selling out, man. This bestseller, I'm telling you, it's off the chain, and we having this wonderful conversation. I know we sound like preachers a little bit because that's just in our blood. But at the end of the day, I wanna know who I am, and I think in order to know who you are, I think you gotta want it. I think you gotta want that. I think it has to be some type of desire to say, you know what, I want me.
Right.
Sure.
You know, and I'm not gonna cheat myself no more of being me.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's why Jake said, why be a cheap copy when you can be a great original?
Yeah.
So, Lige, man, you got something, man.
I was looking at when you was talking about kind of earlier in the conversation, and you was saying that you was feeling attacked, like, you know, you're in the yard, and you know, you felt like you was the small dog, and the big dog, he was like barking at you and like really attacking you. And what popped into my mind is that you know, the reason being, and I think we all, you know, was talking about, and I think you even said, you know, because you don't know what's in him.
Hold on, I got a call online too. Just hold for a moment. Sorry. Holla at me.
This evening, this is Tiasha.
Look at you. How you doing?
I'm fine. Mm-hmm.
Good. You're our first call, so you want your book?
Yes, I want my book.
Okay, we got you. Do you have any questions for our boy? And this, what do you think about this conversation? I know you may have had something you may wanted to ask or what have you.
It was a very hot topic, and I think that it's very truthful about the dog and the wolf. I consider myself to be a wolf. So.
Wow. Well, thanks for calling, and we got you on your book. We got you.
All right.
Yo, Pastor Ron.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Hey, listen, I got one more book. 614-577-1464. The book Significant by Durante Martin. Go to Amazon. I'm telling you, it's selling off the shelves. Amazon can't keep them on stock. Now, PR, before we roll, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, people are listening to this broadcast all over the country, all over the world. I mean, this is in other countries. It's just not in the United States.
Yes, sir.
And I know when we speak from our environmental perspective, from a U.S. perspective. We don't know how it is to be in a place where there's no running water.
Right.
We don't know how it is to be in a place where we don't have iron and things like that for our clothes, or you know, our roof isn't made out of clay. You know,
right.
You know what I mean, we're living in a place where we have, you know, lights and things. We don't have to rely on actual like candles and things and lighting fires to have heat. Yeah. What do you say to people that's living in countries like that? What do you say to people that you know, just in general, but I just wanted you to have those type of people in mind that are living in places that aren't, you know, the types of places we're used to.
Well, I think that is an excellent. It's an excellent idea to expand the worldview of this conversation, because greatness that has been accomplished in life historically and statistically has not always come from places of beauty, but have mostly come from places of brokenness. It has normally been someone coming, whether they be stateside or somewhere in a third world country, somewhere in an underdeveloped territory. It has normally come from someone in that place, and this message of significance rings true, if not more so with them than anyone else. This message belongs to them. And the thing that I would say to everyone listening, whether you're in an underdeveloped nation, whether you're struggling with heat, whether you're homeless in America or homeless in Africa, if you're listening to this tonight, what I would say to you is that there's a great movie that came out years ago entitled The Color Purple. And at the end of that movie, The Color Purple, the character played by Whoopi Goldberg, Miss Silly, as she was driving off in what I would consider to be her personal revelation of significance, she uttered these words that will be infamous in history. She shouted out, "I'm here. I may be black, I may be poor, I might even be ugly, but dear God, I'm here." The revelation of significance is realizing that you are here, not by default, but by design. You are here regardless of what your life looks like right now. You are here. And if you are here, you can make whatever changes. Your life can be whatever you want it to be, regardless of where you are right now. Your present circumstance has no power on your destination. None whatsoever. You are here. Now you can be wherever you want to be. You don't have to wait on it. You can. You are.
Wow. Man. Hey man, listen, man. If you just now come in, man, look, the show is over. I mean, we gotta close down. You missed it, but you can go back. You can go back to our archives. Go to on YouTube. I mean, you can watch the videos. Holla at me. The symbol at me, Mike Dean, and holla HOLLA symbol at me, Mike Dean, and you should be able to watch it on YouTube. I don't know the actual YouTube video from Holy Hills Radio, but I know that's how I pull it up. Also, listen, if you out there, you want to sow a seed to this broadcast and just help us keep this broadcast rolling. Listen, go to our website, our church website, powercitychurch.org, and just drop us a seed to help us, a gift, a gift of $20, a gift of $50, a gift of $10, a gift of $5. You may have $1,000 you want to give, but something to help us make this show, take it to another level and help take Holy Hills Radio to another place in another dimension. So I really appreciate you, Ron, man. You're one of my brothers for life. And I really pray and wish you well on your book, and I wish you much success, bestsellers, and classics. And so, again, to all my panelists here, I appreciate you, Brother L and Lige. You guys are some of the greatest people I know, and you know how we roll, on Holy Hills. So we're just gonna say a prayer. I'm gonna ask PR, why don't you just pray us out? We're gonna just say a prayer and then we're gonna be out of here.
Okay, wonderful. Let's pray. Father God, I thank you for everybody listening right now on the sound of my voice, God. I thank you that in this moment, in this season of their life, God, that they would realize, recognize, and maximize the potential that you've placed on the inside of them, God. I thank you that chains are falling off of people, Father. Not just spiritual chains, but mental chains, emotional chains, sociological chains, financial chains of bondage, Father, that people are arising out of a place of living in permission and are arising into a place of living in purpose, God. I thank you that significance is not just a book, it is not just a phrase, but it is a movement among people where people are transitioning to be who you have designed and desired for them to be, God. I thank you that lives are changing for the better, Father, that families are shifting right now, God, that economies are shifting, that nations are shifting, that institutions are shifting because of people realizing their personal significance. I pray for every person listening to this broadcast right now that your life is being shifted, that you are waking up, that you are burning with the passion of purpose on the inside of your life. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Wow. Amen. Hey, listen, I'm telling you. Hey, next time on Holla Me, tune in at 7 p.m. on holyhillsradio.com. Till next time, holla at your boy. God bless you. See you soon.